Well, I tell you what, baby, you just check out what's coming up next, and you'll find out just how bad we are.
We are back once again right here on Wrestling Real Talk with the one and only A.T. Hook. I'm Rude Boy Rudy Hill, and today we are talking tag team wrestling. We are talking about one of the greatest tag teams in all of wrestling. Of course, we're talking about Buddy Jack Roberts, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and Michael P.S. Hayes, the fabulous Freebirds.
I saw them make their debut on Georgia Championship Wrestling. And a very young Michael Hayes, a very young Terry Gordy, and Buddy Roberts. Man, they revolutionized wrestling.
Yes.
Michael Hayes was the mouthpiece, you know, very flamboyant. They had on their matching outfits.
Yeah.
And man, it was just great.
Talk about Terry Gordy starting out at 14 or 15.
Yeah, he was Terry Mecca.
Terry Mecca.
At the time. Terry Gordy or Terry Mecca against the big cat, Ernie Ladd.
Wow.
And I think Terry Gordy was 14 at the time. And in that match, you can see what Terry Gordy had. He did everything right. You know, it was all about Ernie Ladd in that match.
Right.
You know, Georgia made him popular.
Right.
But they made money in world class.
Oh, I mean, when you think of world class championship wrestling, of course you think of the Von Erichs. You think of the dynamic duo of Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez.
Yes. Devastation Incorporated. Yeah, the missing link.
The booker was Gary Hart.
Gary Hart was one of the bookers, along with Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody, yes.
Bruiser Brody was one of the bookers. A lot of people didn't know that.
Right.
I was watching World Class because it came on television in Georgia, in Atlanta. I saw when they first came, and they first came in as baby faces. Good guys.
Yes,
Good
yes,
guys.
yes.
So it was a cage match with Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair.
Yes.
And
Michael Hayes was the referee.
the guest referee.
Yes.
And Terry Gordy was the one outside, opening and closing the door.
1, 2, 3.
And that started that huge historic feud between the Freebirds and the Von Erich. Of course, you know, the Freebirds were from Bad Street, USA, which was somewhere in Atlanta.
I'm sure there's a lot of bad streets in Atlanta.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad streets in Atlanta. That was their whole feud, Georgia versus Texas. And man, they had some bloody and wild battles with the Von Erich. They helped make the Von Erichs.
I loved the fact that they went to the WWF for one television appearance.
Right, and then they were gone.
And they were out.
They were gone. But you know what? They do have a history where they weren't getting along very well.
Then all of a sudden, Terry Gordy's breaking off and he's in Japan. And now he's tag team with Steve Dr.
Dr. Death Steve Williams. They were over in Japan just going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the first times I saw somebody get power bombed on the floor was Terry Gordy, and he power bombed somebody on the floor out there. Yeah, they had all those great matches against Baba and Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody. Man, and they were, you know, that was just like a new beginning for Terry Gordy's.
Long story short, the Freebirds dismissed all of the sudden.
Yes.
Then WCW revamps the Freebirds with gorgeous Jimmy Garvin.
You know, some people didn't like Jimmy Garvin as a Freebird, but I accepted it because he was a part of their history.
Okay.
You know, down in World Class. If you remember the Bad Street USA video,
He's in it.
Jimmy Jam was in that video. He was all up on stage with them.
Then Freebirds dismantled again. And now Michael P.S. Hayes is on his own.
I think people may not have really accepted Michael Hayes as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
You know, he tried that out, you know, but he'll always be remembered as the Fabulous Freebirds.
Yes.
You know, certain wrestlers just get remembered as their tag team ability.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Hayes was the mouthpiece. He was a very good talker.
Absolutely.
You know.
Do the Fabulous Freebirds belong in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
You know, without a doubt, the Fabulous Freebirds are one of the, you know, greatest teams of all time. You know, you got to remember, they went to the NWA, Georgia Championship Wrestling. They went to Texas. They went to the AWA.
Yes, sir.
And had feuds with the Road Warriors and others in the AWA and the WWF, even briefly. But Michael Hayes later he finished his career
Absolutely, yeah.
in the WWF. Doc Hendricks,
Right, right.
you know.
The Confederate flag, the Confederacy that the boys would wear and that would push down the throats of wrestling fans.
I gotta be honest, it never bothered me.
Yeah.
Never bothered me, and it doesn't to this day. I separate entertainment, TV, from real life.
Okay. No matter what, their legacy will still stand the test of time in wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And again, like you said, definitely Hall of Fame candidates should be 100%.
Oh, they should be. They should.
And now that we've come to the end of the Freebirds episode, any final words that you would like to say about the Freebirds?
Man, I'd say my favorite wrestling song is Bad Street USA.
Bad Street USA. Here's a snippet of Bad Street USA. We'll check you out next time right here on Wrestling Real Talk.
This Bad Street saying, Bad Street, Atlanta, PA. Bad Street in the whole USA.